What should we do when drafting in shark-infested waters on DraftKings? Should we stay the course, draft as normal? Do we need to change our approach? I faced this situation today. Now I want to talk about what to do in these situations, what I did here. But first, need to say this is a DraftKings sponsored video. I am a DraftKings partner for DraftKings Best Ball Week, and I want to tell you about a great offer that DraftKings has. So let me do the ad read. I'm going to run it, and then I'll be back to talk about this draft immediately after. Football season is right around the corner, and there's no better way to lock in your fantasy dominance early than with Best Ball on DraftKings, where you draft once and ride your roster all season long. And right now, DraftKings is giving all customers a can't-miss offer. Draft one, get one. Enter a lineup in the $15 million Best Ball contest for just $20, and you'll score another Best Ball ticket to play free for a share of $15 million, giving you a second shot to win big. It's easy. Just draft your team once, no weekly management required, and let your top scorers automatically start each week. Across the whole season, every breakout star, every clutch play, every touchdown will count toward your quest for a share of $15 million. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app now to draft your $20 Best Ball lineup and get a second ticket to play free for a share of $15 million. That's two chances to win big without ever setting your lineup again. Draft one, get one. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Okay, I just entered this draft at random today, was not streamed or anything, and see that my friend Sackreligious placed directly next to me on the board. Not something that I love to see. It's not an ideal spot where, so you can see I'm in the 2-hole here, Sackreligious is in the 3-hole, which means the big breaks, he's always going to have the first shot at the player coming back before I get to go. And Sack is a guy that I know well. He's one of the sharpest Best Ball drafters that I know. I know the way he drafts. I know a lot of his player takes. He's actually involved in the rankings for Legendary Upside, which is a ranking set that I use pretty frequently. We've done content together. I've watched a lot of his content. He watches some of my content. So we know each other pretty well. We know, the types of players that we want to draft. So it's kind of a tough spot to be in. A player that I know drafts pretty similar to me a lot of the time, getting that first shot after all of the big turns. And of course, I get to go before him on this turn, but it's just one player here. I'm not going to get any great falls. So it's a tough spot. So the question is, should I change my approach here, knowing that he is right there, that he is going to be going after a lot of the same players that I like, or should I maybe adjust my approach a little bit? Let's talk about it. So at the 102, I just go my usual route. Nothing unique here. I go with Justin Jefferson because Jamar Chase went first. I think Justin Jefferson, the second best option on DraftKings, full PPR site. Zach goes with CeeDee Lamb. So already we're on the same build type to start. Don't love to see that. Luckily, in the second round, things started to go a little bit better because I would like, ideally, for us to go divergent paths. I don't want us to both be, 0 RB through the first 4 rounds, because then we're going to be going after the same players. And anytime there is a great fall or just a strong option coming up, he's just going to get the first crack at that player, and I'm going to be in a tough spot. So this is pretty lucky that he goes Bucky Irving at the 210. I go Trey McBride at the 211. I could have gone Josh Jacobs, so this might be kind of a tiebreaker for me. Go in a different route, not trying to take the running back, trying to go a divergent path. T. Higgins goes at the 3.1. And I should say, there are a lot of sharks on DraftKings whose usernames I don't know. So I can't always predict that I'm going to be drafting against a shark. I'm speaking specifically about when I know the user and I know the person, I know that they're sharp. I can, maybe adjust my approach a little bit. A lot of the times I'm just not going to know. I don't know most people's usernames on DraftKings, so don't take it personally if I'm not changing my approach for the way you draft. But pretty standard, nice start here. For the 1-hole goes Chase, Jacobs, Higgins. I add on Devontae Adams, a little bit unique to pull up Devontae Adams to 26, but I like Devontae Adams quite a bit. So mostly just sticking with players that I like through 3 rounds. Now Zach goes Chase Brown. So this is good for me. We're going a divergent path. And then it continues to be pretty nice for me that George Kittle falls to the 4.10. Now, I normally would hate to see it. If George Kittle had fallen all the way back to me, I would have really regretted having Trey McBride, because then I'm in a tough situation where they're 2 of my favorite picks on the board. You don't usually see George Kittle fall that far. So I'd have to decide, do I really want to go bully tight end? It's kind of a unique start. It's 2 players I really like, but I was not forced to make that decision. George Kittle falls to Sack at the 4.10. I go Jalen Hurts. it's always a debate. Do I want to go Jalen Hurts or Devontae Smith first if I'm trying to get this stack? And especially with the pretty sure that the one hole is going to take Burrow here since he has Chase and Higgins. So that probably protects Hurts a little bit. I maybe could have gone Devontae Smith first. But part of the reason I went Jalen Hurts first is I still think it's like a little bit more likely if I let him go that the turn just goes Hurts Smith instead of going with Burrow. But also, I do want to have some diversity in my Hurts stacks. Most of my Hurts stacks right now, just because of where they line up on the board, I get a ton of Hurts with Devontae Smith. I don't get a ton with AJ Brown, or just without Devontae Smith. So I wouldn't have minded if he had taken Devontae Smith just to let me get a little bit unique. Maybe in that case, I just wait. I reach a little bit for Dallas Goedert or something. But also, I'm very happy to get a lot of Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith stacks. I think that's just a really good stack. So we add on now through 5 rounds. I have nice start. Jalen Hurts with Devontae Smith, Devontae Adams, and Justin Jefferson, and Trey McBride at tight end. I don't have any running backs yet. So that's the only position that I'm really weak at. Zach goes with George Pickens here, another player that I like quite a bit. I usually will take him before Devontae Smith if I don't have Jalen Hurts, but when I have Jalen Hurts, I do think Devontae Smith is a great pick as well. So happy to get him there. Coming back around, I would have taken Olave if he had fallen to me. So that's the luck of the draw, but happy to get, I pulled up Stephon Diggs a little bit. I do think Stephon Diggs is pretty likely to rise, but he's just, as we get more and more reports that he in New England, people start to fall in love with that offense with Drake May a little bit more later in the summer. I think Diggs probably going to move up over time. So I'm happy to just reach a little bit to get Diggs here. And then finally, Aaron Jones, adding him on to my Viking stack with Justin Jefferson. I like Aaron Jones quite a bit on DraftKings. I think he has great PPR upside. So he is the RB1 for my team. Now I could have gone Khalil Shakir for the Week 17 game stack with Philadelphia. I did not go that route because I kind of needed a running back at this point. Didn't have any running backs through 6 rounds. Didn't really want to wait any longer. So broke the tie toward Aaron Jones. Coming back around to me, you see Jaden Reed, a little bit of a fall here. Zach gets him. I needed a running back anyway, so not the end of the world there. I was debating between Jaylen Warren and Kyler Murray. I thought I need a running back more. Since I already have Jalen Hurts, I needed a running back more than a quarterback. Thought it was pretty likely that that Kyler Murray would make it back around the turn to me as well, because I have Trey McBride, because the turn has Joe Burrow already and none of the Arizona pieces. So I thought pretty likely that Kyler Murray just makes it back to me at 98. I'm also really high on Jaden Higgins. So I was not that upset that Kyler Murray did go to the one hole drafter here. And then I just get my guy, Jaden Higgins, just a rookie that I think has a lot of talent. But I'm happy with the way this draft went. I think I got a little bit lucky in that I did go kind of divergent paths with Sack a little bit. So, where he's taken receivers, even though I would have liked to take them, I needed running backs. So it worked out okay for me. His team is sort of built out so that he doesn't have a ton of quarterback options that you're really excited about, because Josh Allen's already gone. He obviously has Dak double stack with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. So there's one that he'd really like. Brock Purdy went a little bit early in this one, I believe. Where did Purdy go? He goes at 115. But you'll see that Chris Olave, you can always go Tyler Shuck late, but nobody's super excited to do it. So anyway, Zach goes with Justin Fields, which fits his team, where a lot of his quarterback outs are already gone, and just take the high upside quarterback that you can build out with later. That's probably what I would have done there as well, but we're sort of on divergent paths, so not a huge issue. I did want Cam Scatterboot to fall here, so there's one where I got bit a little bit, but happy to take Ramondre Stevenson also. Would have been happy with Tyjae Spears. Either of them really strong picks here. And then, of course, I was planning to take Drake May. I thought I could push him because the one hole already had both Kyler Murray and Joe Burrow. It's pretty unlikely that he was going to take another quarterback here. I also have multiple outs because I have Jaden Higgins. I've got Justin Jefferson. So a lot of quarterback outs. If he does happen to decide to take May, then I'll just take one of those other quarterbacks. But I get May here. Finally, coming back around, I think this is where I really lucked out on Zach pushed his quarterbacks a little bit. So he took Justin Fields, but his quarterback outs include Jordan Love. They include he has both of the Dallas pass catching options. So I'm sure he was hoping to push Dak to 118, but all of the quarterbacks go. Oh, he also had the George Kittle out, so he had pushed, probably planning on getting one of those quarterbacks to fall to him here, but the room was just taking a lot of unstacked quarterbacks. So I got a little bit lucky that Jordan Love goes at 107, Dak Prescott goes at 108. A lot of his outs go, so he was sort of forced to take Matthew Stafford here, which allowed me then to get both Dylan Sampson and Bashal Tutin, the two running backs that I was targeting here. Dylan Sampson, I've talked about him quite a bit. I just think he goes a little bit too late considering the Judkins situation. Dylan Sampson has at least potential to end up being a starting running back, or at least a committee running back early in the season. And who knows if he can hold on to that job. But I like him. Just think he's a pretty strong bet right now. Because even if Judkins, like if in the worst case scenario for Dylan Sampson, where Judkins is just not facing any kind of suspension, like he still has a role, most likely in this offense. He's still fighting for a job there with two other running backs that are, I mean, Jerome Ford, proven, but not necessarily like unbeatable. Does not have a stranglehold on that job. And Judkins, who is a rookie, who's missing training camp right now. So I think Dylan Sampson just a strong bet right now. And the Bashal Tutin, similarly, like the team has two running backs in Jacksonville that they like, or that they, are still fighting for the job. I shouldn't say that they like, but they have those two running backs, and then they drafted Bashal Tutin anyway. I think he'll be fighting for a pretty significant role there in Jacksonville. So these are two of my running back targets in this range. Happy to get both of them on a running back needy team. Now coming back to my turn, I have Drake May, was able to add on Hunter Henry and Pop Douglas to the Drake May stack. So now I'm triple stacked with Drake May. Happy to do that. In the 16th round, Daniel Jones was just kind of he's got a couple later options that I can usually add on to a Daniel Jones stack. Now, Alec Pierce had already gone, but I probably could have been fine with just two quarterbacks. I decided to throw one on, mostly because there were not any other options that I was super in love with here. Zach had taken Miles Sanders, who is another running back that I target pretty frequently later in drafts. So there were just, I could have gone Keenan Allen, a player that I'm a little bit interested in here. It did not occur to me to take him here. I just didn't see anybody that I really loved here. So I decided to just throw on another quarterback, figured I could pull out a third stack here. Jalen Noel, again, just a rookie receiver that I think has a lot of upside. Probably should be going 3 rounds earlier than he does on DraftKings. He's basically always there here. So happy to get Jalen Noel in the 17th round. A.D. Mitchell in the 18th, throw him onto the Daniel Jones stack. Sean Tucker, I just did a little tweet thread about some of my favorite late round targets who are drafted in under 20% of DraftKings Millie Maker drafts. As of June 27th, Sean Tucker made the list. He's not taken all that often. Last year, among running backs who had 50 or more carries, and I need to be clear, he had exactly 50 carries. So it actually was not meant to be cherry picked. That's just the threshold I use. But he made that threshold just barely. He was towards the top, and I think he was like second in explosive run rate in the NFL of like 70 running backs who fit the criteria. And then somewhere in the teens in terms of missed tackles for us. Just looked really good from an efficiency standpoint last year. But perhaps even more important than that, the coaches have both coach and offensive coordinator. They mentioned several times this offseason getting him more involved. I think Todd Bowles has said we need to get him a lot more work this year. So I think there's a chance that he just has a bigger role this year than people are expecting. Matthew Berry actually went to the combine, and after talking to people at the combine, said that he thought there was a possibility that Tucker just beats out Rachaad White for the RB2 role. It's unlikely that Rachaad White is just not going to have any work because he's really good in the passing game, but kind of interesting there that maybe Sean Tucker has a bigger role going in than we're expecting. And then, of course, has great contingent upside if either especially if Bucky Irving goes down, but even if Rachaad White goes down, I think he'll have some increased role in those scenarios. So, and then the final round, it kind of comes down to where have I spent my draft capital. When you look at where I went, I had 4 quarterbacks through 6 rounds, weighted quite a bit on running back, and my running back room just needed a little bit of help. So throw in another dart throw on at running back was the ultimate decision. I think Jordan James, when I don't have Christian McCaffrey or Isaac Guerrero, just making a bet on another San Fran running back who could have some upside. Jordan James fit this team for me. So I ended up going 3-7-8-2 here. Can take just 2 tight ends when you have Trey McBride and Hunter Henry. I think that's a strong enough tight end room. Really happy with the quarterbacks, obviously, with Jalen Hurts, Drake May, and then Daniel Jones. The wide receivers, I think, are pretty strong. Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Devontae Smith, and Stephon Diggs to start. We throw on a rookie that I really like in Jaden Higgins, Pop Douglas, Jalen Knoll, another rookie, A.D. Mitchell. Pretty strong wide receiver room. I would say I'm weakest at running back. Didn't take any until Aaron Jones in the 7th, Jalen Warren in the 8th, Ramondre Stevenson in the 10th. So, three running backs that'll have some role early on, even if it's not amazing. They can kind of get me through those early weeks. And then we've got the rookies that will, might have a role early on, and they can certainly earn more of a role going forward in Dylan Sampson and Bashal Tutin. And then just throw in a couple of dart throws because I need some depth at the position with Sean Tucker and Jordan James. So ultimately, even with the tough situation of drafting next to a shark in Sackreligious, I think it worked out okay, in part because we kind of went divergent paths from the beginning. I also lucked out in that he was sort of forced into some decisions that were like, it's the right decision for him to go with Matthew Stafford here. I'm sure he would have liked to be able to get Dak Prescott here. And if he had been able to get Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy here, I probably would not have been able to get Dylan Sampson and Bashal Tutin here because he would have been taking one of them at 142. So I sort of lucked into some players that I think both of us like because the room kind of did not let him. He got kind of unlucky with the way the room unfolded. All right. That is going to do it for this video. If you could like and subscribe, hit the little notification bell to get alerts when I post content, would be greatly appreciated. Any comment under the video, how you would grade this team. I'd give it, I think, just a standard B+. Not amazing, but good enough B+ kind of team. What do you think? All right, catch you guys later.